and I'm going to transition us to the beginning of our webinar. I'm also going to do a quick test to see if this microphone is going to interfere with the sound at all. So please bear with me as I test that with you all, and I'll be able to see on the screen. Kathy, I'm able to see you. If you can voice to me if it's interfering at all. Okay, Kathy, is it interfering at all with the sound to have the microphone?
Can you say something else, Grace?
Yeah. Welcome, everyone. We are going to transition to get started. So I'm looking for cues from my online people to see if the microphone is good. It's good with the microphone. Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and proceed with using the microphone. Okay, welcome to our second family info session for Durham PreK for the upcoming 2023-2024 school year. We hope that if you're here, you have a child that's going to be 4 by August 31st, and we are going to get started. First things first. Okay. Is just one last call for our online attendees. Please make sure that you are listening to the webinar in your preferred language. All right, and then we will switch over to our Spanish-speaking families and pause a minute for our Spanish-speaking families. And Cecilia, I'm going to pause and wait for a cue from you whenever you're ready to move on. All right, I'm going to move us forward. First, for our online participants, you already saw this information, but please remember that we're in a hybrid session. If at any point you are unable to hear me, please be sure to put that in the chat, and I have my colleagues online to be able to help facilitate that. You are in a listen-only webinar, so you're going to be muted while this webinar is in process. Please put all questions into the Q&A box. Any questions that are put in the chat are not guaranteed to be answered. And then at the end of this webinar, we have a survey that we would ask you to complete.
Grace?
Yes.
I'm waiting to hear confirmation from Cecilia. Can folks hear in the Spanish panel or no?
I think we have some parents that are not able to hear.
Yeah, I just hopped over into the Spanish channel and I could hear you, Kathy, but I could not hear Cecilia.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you in the Spanish channel, Kathy.
Cecilia, can you say something? Yes,
We're good?
Yeah. Sounds good.
yes, I can hear
Yeah,
Cecilia in
Cecilia, I can
Spanish.
hear you now in Spanish.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna hop back over into English. Did you finish this slide, Cecilia? Mhm.
And the
Yeah.
interpreter who switches his headphones. The next time.
Okay, sounds
Stop
good.
you.
Yeah. It's just the technical stuff, right? So she's got it, yeah. Yeah, live in person. Yeah. All right. For those of us that are here in person, again, we thank you so much for wanting to come out and join us in person. You will receive a link to a recording of this session. It will come to the email that you registered with, and it'll also be available on the website. Please feel free. This is a very informal setting. If you want food, we have plenty of food still. If you want food, water, need to use the restroom, please get up during the middle of it. And then we're going to split time when it comes time for Q&A. It'll be between you all who are in person and those of us online. And then at the very end, there is a QR code. We don't have paper surveys. We do have on the backs of the papers that's in front of you that you hopefully got. There's a QR code on the back that we would love for you to scan and fill out a survey at the end of this, just to let us know what we could do better next time. And we're going to get started, jump right on into our session. So we're first going to start with an introduction and then an overview of Durham PreK, a review of what we covered in February. If you were with us, if you missed it, we would love for you to view that recording. And then we're going to do a notification timeline, notification of placement, what to expect after you accept your slot, and then the transition to pre-K, what is the typical pre-K day, the creative curriculum, and Q&A. So it seems like a lot to cover, but we're hoping that we're going to breeze through it together. And Cecilia, just let me know whenever you're good to move on. All right, so first, I'm going to introduce all of the different partners that work on the Durham PreK initiative. So first, we have Child Care Services Association, also known as CCSA. They are the contract administrator. Are you coming to help me present? They're the contract administrator of NC PreK. And then we have Durham's Partnership for Children. That is the agency that I'm representing. So we are the contract administrator of NC PreK here in Durham. And then we have Durham Public Schools. And we have Durham County and Families and Communities Rising, and they are the administrators of Head Start in the area. So hopefully you have already applied for Durham PreK. If you haven't, please know that you're applying for a seat in private sites, Head Start sites, and the public schools. And then when you indicated your preference, you could select between any of those. Are you good, Cecilia? So now we're going to move into an overview of Durham PreK. So Durham PreK, if you don't already know, is Durham's local investment in high quality early childhood experiences. So Durham PreK was built to enhance the existing pre-K seats, and it expands access to all 4-year-olds in Durham County. So we boil that down to, there are 2 eligibility requirements. Your child has to be 4 by August 31st, and you must be a resident of Durham County. And if those 2 things apply to you and your family, then you can apply for Durham PreK. So Durham PreK is free for all families that are 400% at or below the federal poverty level. Any families that make above that level will just be asked to contribute a sliding scale monthly parent fee that's based off of your income and your family size. And you can view our sliding scale online in order to see if you have to contribute a parent fee. So the Durham PreK application allows families to just complete one application and again be considered for all of our publicly funded pre-K seats here in Durham County. So as I mentioned before, those seats are going to be in our public schools classrooms, our Head Start classrooms, and community-based licensed programs. We also refer to those as our private settings. So if you have not completed an application, please be assured that you still have time to apply. Our applications, we accept them on a rolling basis. However, our deadline to be considered for a spot in a Durham Public Schools classroom, that was on May the 12th. But you will be considered for all other pre-K seats here in Durham. So this is the link to apply online, and our application is fully online. So now we're going to go through an overview of what we covered in our February session for those who were unable to join us, or even if you were, just a refresher. So in February, we covered the documents that are required to apply for pre-K, the Durham PreK application, and we walked through filling out that application together. We went through what you should expect after you submit an application, and then how to indicate your site preferences. So I apologize that it's covered by my screen, but at the bottom, there is a link to that recording, which is available on the Durham PreK website. So now we're going to move into really the heart of why we're here. So we're going to go through our notification timeline. So if you have already submitted your application, our first round of notifications is in mid-June. So in the next few weeks. All of our notifications are going to be sent via email. And if you do not receive a placement in mid-June, just know that your application remains under review. So our second round will be in late June. Same thing, that notification is going to be sent via email. Same thing applies as well. If you don't receive a placement even during our second round, that just means your application is still under review. And then starting in July, it will be rolling notifications until all of our seats are filled. And the first day of school for 2023 is August the 28th. I will point out that that date is different if you are placed in Pearsontown and, Karen, remind me what's the other one? And Holt. Those are year-round Durham Public Schools classrooms, and those start July 17th. July 17th. So now we're going to go through the different notifications of placement. So first, I can't reiterate this enough. All notifications are going to be sent via email. So when you created your SurveyMonkey Apply account, it asks you to verify your email. Please be sure that your email is verified. If you signed up to receive text messages, you will receive a text with a monthly touch point, just letting you know that notifications has started. So that is just another way that we remind you to check your email. But in the notifications will indicate the site that your child is placed at and the amount that's due each month if you have a parent fee. Again, most families are going to receive a parent fee of $0. And we just have the reminder at the bottom to check that sliding scale chart if you are worried about contributing a parent fee. So when you receive your placement, if you review it and you are satisfied with the offer that has been made to you, you will have 7 days to accept your seat. In a moment, we'll go over what you can expect after you do accept your seat in one of our sites. But over the summer, you please start communicating with your site director. You can start scheduling a tour and asking them any questions that you have about their site and what you can expect from pre-K and their center. We do have a demo video online for how you can accept your slot. It's linked here. We would encourage you to watch it. And also just a reminder that contact information for our site is available on our site locations page. Can we please save all questions till the end, just so that our online audience has the same opportunity? Thank you. So if you review your placement and you are not satisfied with where you were placed or even the parent fee, you have the choice to decline your placement. So when you select decline, however, please know that you're moving your application into withdrawn. So that would mean that you're no longer wish to be considered for any of our placements in Durham PreK. So if you do choose decline and then would like to move your application back to the wait list, please call our Durham PreK help desk. We cannot guarantee that your child is going to receive a different placement if you choose to decline your first spot. So when you do decline your spot, we're going to ask you to provide a reason. So again, declining is choosing to withdraw. So that would be that the site is too far away, you're not satisfied with that site, or if you've moved to a different county, that's what we're going to ask for. So if you choose to select wait list, again, that's just asking to be considered for alternative sites. But we cannot guarantee that you're going to receive a second placement. It's all dependent upon your eligibility and what seats are open. So we are still going to ask you again to provide a reason. In that reason, that could be, again, the site's too far away, you're not satisfied. In the reason, you're more than welcome to provide a site that you would prefer to be considered for, but again, that's not going to be guaranteed to you. So if you receive your placement and you accept it, this is what you can expect after you click accept. So if you are placed in one of our private childcare sites and you accept that placement, a representative of your site will contact you either via phone or email with any information that is specific to their site. Some of the things you can expect to receive, that would be a parent handbook or any other enrollment forms that that center has specifically for them. Families should expect to start hearing from our site providers starting on August 1st. Families who are placed after August 1st, that would be a 7 business day turnaround that you should be hearing from your site. We do want to say that there is a chance that your site could reach out to you prior to August 1st, but most sites, they're not required to reach out to you until after August the 1st. If you are placed in one of our Durham public school classrooms and or the WITted school, once you accept the placement, a welcome letter is going to be sent to families with DPS guidelines and information on how to enroll in Power School. Please read that letter carefully. Power School enrollment must be completed prior to your child's first day of school. We do want you to know that our DPS teachers, they do go on summer break. So they will contact families a week prior to school starting. So again, if you're placed in a year-round classroom, that would be the week of July the 10th with the start date of the 17th. And for traditional schools, that would be the week of August 22nd with the start date of the 28th. And last but not least, for any families that are placed in Durham Head Start, you'll be contacted to schedule an appointment with a family engagement specialist at Families and Communities Rising within 7 days of accepting your placement. During that appointment, the family engagement specialist will help the family complete any additional paperwork that is required for Head Start. We do have a transfer process for families who want to transfer to a different site. If you're not satisfied with your placement, but you did accept it, you still have that option to transfer. So again, your transfer is going to be dependent upon availability of space in your preferred site. So for example, a family cannot transfer into a full classroom. The schedule for our transfer request is going to be accepted between July the 1st and August the 1st. And then we will ask families after August the 1st to please attend whatever site you are placed in. And then you will have the option to transfer after 1 month of school. So then after September the 29th, you would be able to choose to transfer your child to different sites. So now we're going to go through the transition to pre-K. So first off, some important information all about the pre-K calendar. So most Durham PreK classrooms are going to follow the DPS traditional calendar. As we stated before, the only 2 sites that don't follow that would be Holt and Pearsontown Elementary, and that is because they are year-round schools. And all of those calendars are available on the DPS website for you to download and print off for your home. So our pre-K hours, all of our sites operate on a 6.5-hour school day. So we encourage you to look at the site locations tab. You can view each site and what their hours are for this current school year. They could change, but most likely they will not. Scholarships and subsidy are available to help cover the cost of wraparound care for those who need hours outside of that regular school day, so that regular 6.5 hour school day. So you can also view the wraparound hours for each site online. Again, that's for this current 22-23 school year, and then hours for the 23-24 school year will be updated as our team receives them. So we have information on our website of what you can expect from a typical pre-K day. It's on our Y pre-K page. But just some high level things that you can expect is one, each day your child is going to receive breakfast, lunch, and a snack from their site. We also think that some of the important components that are going to be in your child's day is one, it's going to be play-based learning. They're going to have outdoor time and outdoor learning centers where your child is going to have the choice of what activity they would like to participate in. There is going to be quiet time as well, and then circle time, which is led by your child's teacher. So again, we encourage you to look on the Y pre-K page for a deep dive into what each of those components might look like. So there are a lot of ways that you can help your child with this transition to pre-K and start preparing them starting now and throughout the summer. So these are just some of our suggestions that are really going to help your child get ready for pre-K. Is one, you should read to your child daily. We really, again, cannot encourage you enough to go visit your pre-K site, talk with your pre-K provider about what you should expect from that pre-K day, talk through the pre-K schedule at your site with your child, and then set a routine that will start helping prepare your child for the start of the school year. So please know that our Durham PreK staff, we are always willing to provide more suggestions and resources to you around the transition to pre-K. All you need to do is call our Durham PreK help desk. That number is 1-833-773-5338, and you can ask our help desk for more resources. Another one that we highly encourage is Ready for K. That's a text messaging service. You'll receive tips and tricks to help support your child's development. So you can sign up for texting by texting DPFC to 70138. And a lot of those text messages are going to provide suggestions on how to set routines with your child. So now we're going to go into a very, very brief overview of the creative curriculum. So first off, the creative curriculum is a state-approved pre-K curriculum. The instruction in the classroom is individualized to the children based on the child's ability. So it is focused on supporting the whole child to align social, emotional development and cognitive and physical development. And most importantly, it's here to improve kindergarten readiness. So we have a link to more information on the creative curriculum that is online if you would like to do research on your own. You're out. Are you ready? And now I'm going to invite Ms. Sarah Williams up to the stage. She's one of our pre-K teachers at Arlen Harris Elementary. It's a long way around. All right, so we'll do a quick test real quick. If you pop that in your right ear. Testing, can you hear me? Okay. Our pre-K site. All of our pre-K sites utilize creative curriculum. This curriculum is used in our private, Head Start, and Durham Public School sites. Creative curriculum gives our teachers more flexibility to tailor lesson plans to the interests and abilities of the children in their classrooms. Head Start site
Oh, we're gonna go to that one? Pre-K site? Okay. The importance of play. Play helps children increase their social skills and how they relate to other children their age. Okay. The social and emotional skills that develop in pre-K helps prepare your child for kindergarten and their future learning. In addition to play-based learning, child-led activities help to foster a love of learning in your child. It's hard.
All right, can I get one more round of applause to our two teachers in some of our pre-K centers? All right. Thank you all for being super attentive during the presentation. We are now ready to transition to our Q&A portion. So again, this Q&A portion is going to be, I'm going to unplug this. This is going to be bounced back and forth between our online participants and you all who are here with us. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, start my video for those online to see me. Okay, so I am first going to ask someone in the audience to raise their hand if you have a question about anything that we've covered. I can't get it to work. Okay, does anyone in person have a question right now that they would like to ask? All right, great. I'm gonna come on over to you do. Oh, yeah, please. All right, we have someone for our online participants. We have someone with a question, so I'll be voicing to you what they asked to make sure that you can hear it. And we thank you again for your flexibility with us as we do both in person and online. So All right, so wait. So for our online participants, the question was for someone who has completed their application but has not received the email to select their site placements yet. Is that odd? Should that be expected? And the answer is that we are working through hundreds of applications. So your application is in review. You should have received an email that your application moved on. However, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to our our help desk at 1-833-773-5338. So we'll give you the email. Hey, Stephanie. Can I gotta go to the online one too. So you're good. And what was her question just about documents? Great. So for our online participants, sorry about that. Somebody asked a question if they still need to upload documents, how can they do that? And the question is that you can always log back into your SurveyMonkey Apply account. You can come to our office, that's Child Care Services Association at 1201 South Briggs Avenue. Or we really encourage you to join us on June the 10th for our Roll Up and Enroll. There'll be more information at the end of this session. All right, so now we're going to take a question from our online audience. So this is a great question. One of the questions is, what is a typical size for a pre-K classroom? I'm going to look to Danica to make sure I answer this correctly. All of our classrooms need to have a 1:9 ratio. So for every one teacher, there's going to be 9 children. Most of our sites have at least 2 teachers. So that would mean your classroom is going to be no more than 18 children in the classroom. Most of our sites, however, are smaller than 18 in those classrooms, and many of our sites have multiple pre-K classrooms within their site. All right. Anyone in our live audience, in-person audience, have a question for us? Also, for our Spanish-speaking individuals, please ask us a question and we can have our interpreters interpret it into English. I'm going to bring this back here. And we will test to see if the online participants can hear me this far back. Oh, yeah. We have some stuff at the end, but all of this will be sent out afterwards in an email. It'll just be like events that are coming up and stuff like that, and then our QR code for the survey. Could you pass that behind you? Yeah. That is a great question. We try to have Spanish-speaking staff available in our pre-K site. And we will work with you all to have all information available in both English and Spanish to make sure that you can support your child at home. But please know that they're going to be treated equally in the classroom, regardless if they speak English as their first language or not. They will be learning the same thing, and our teachers are here to support your child in any way that they can. I hope that is like a all right. And so for our online audience, if you're unable to hear that question, I hope you're able to hear me still. That question was from a Spanish-speaking family in our audience. They asked us, how do we support families who have Spanish-speaking children? And what can they do to make sure their child is ready for kindergarten? And we just want to assure you that our sites are asked to provide all information in both English and Spanish. Many of our sites are equipped with Spanish-speaking individuals, but regardless of if your child speaks English first, they are going to be treated equitably in our classrooms, and we are going to work to support them no matter what, and our teachers will work to support them no matter what. All right. So we have another question from our online audience is, what is the attendance policy? I believe each site has a different attendance policy, but I hope that you know, regular attendance is critical to your child's learning. So we really ask that you try to make sure that your child is there regularly, and as much as possible. We understand that there are circumstances that are going to come up that prevent that. But each site, if they do have a certain attendance policy for you, it will be given to you on the first day of school. Does anyone else have a question? Here we go. Can you speak into the microphone? That is a very difficult question for you to ask. So, yes, so this is why it's difficult for us to ask, right? So there are many, many different funding streams. Again, through the Durham PreK application, you're applying for public schools, Head Start, and then private sites that are funded through NC PreK and Durham PreK. So my agency, we can speak to the fact that there are 627 NC PreK sites that could have you placed in Durham Public Schools, Head Start, and private sites in NC PreK. But probably total, we have closer to 1,000. Closer to 1,000, if not over 1,000 slots. So there's plenty of slots. If you have friends that have a 4-year-old and they haven't applied yet, please tell them to apply. And for our online audience, if you were unable to hear the question was about how many slots there are in Durham PreK. So we were able to speak from our NC PreK seats being 627, but there are closer to 1,000, if not over 1,000 slots available. Oh, yeah. Great. So we are going to get to all of your questions. Don't you worry. So I have an online question that asks, what is the difference between school-based sites and daycare sites? The answer is only the location. The curriculum, the resources that you get from your teachers, the support that you get from your teachers, it's all supposed to be the same. That was what we were trying to highlight. The creative curriculum is used in every single one of our classrooms. So while you might have a friend who has a child attending in a different center than yours, and they might be learning something different, just a reminder that we learned that the creative curriculum is specifically designed for teachers to learn the interest of the students in their classroom and then make a lesson plan that, one, meets the ability of those children, and two, is interesting to them. So there's so much flexibility in it, and it's really, really great, but do not be concerned if your friend is learning about animals and your child is learning about weather. That just means that there are more children in your class that want to learn about that. All right, and we're going to take an in-person question. Go ahead. That's a great question for our online audience. The question was, what are the chances that every single one of us are going to get a slot? And what are the chances that we will not hear that at the very end of July? Yes. Great. And so just to make sure that our online audience, just to make sure that our online audience got that. So again, the question was, what's the chance that we're all going to be placed, and what's the chance that we would be placed prior to the end of July, because that's stressful for families to not know until the end of July. And the answer to that is that each of us, in each round of placement, our goal is to place at least 50% in the first round, and then 25%, and then rolling through that. So your chances are fairly high, and we understand that it is stressful for you to maybe not know until July. And that is why we would also understand if you need to make a different decision for your family and are unable to wait. If that is the case, you are always able to withdraw your application. Even though we would love to be able to serve you, we understand that each family is different, and there are ways that, and that's something that you cannot wait upon. But we are going to try our very best to make sure that families know prior to the end of July, since rolling out application notifications start July 1st.
Grace, could we answer the questions currently in the Q&A live, please?
Yes, wait, I see 5 open questions.
Yes.
Which one are you thinking of? All of those?
I haven't gotten down to the bottom ones, but can we at least do the first 2 to 3?
Yes, I have an online question since we're gonna go back and forth. And I appreciate everyone's flexibility, just that we're trying to accommodate both you all and our online audience. So for one of our questions online is for Stephanie. For Durham Public Schools location, do many of the schools have nurses on site? And how would it be handled children that need oral medication or emergency injections daily during school hours? So first question, do our Durham Public Schools have nurses on site?
We do have nurses that.
And so
Can't hear.
yes, sorry, I'm just pausing while I listen to Stephanie's answer to make sure I get it all. So
Okay.
Stephanie's answer for that was that there are nurses on site at BPS. They are there 2 days out of the week, right? No, sorry. We don't have a specific date, but there are scheduled dates that they are in the Durham Public Schools locations. If you do have a medical need for your child, you will be asked to complete a form, and then the nurse would reach out to you and to the family, whoever is on that form, to make accommodations that are needed for your child. Is that right, Stephanie? Great. So then the second part of that, at least, I'm going to turn to you, Janika, for our private centers. If your child has any needs where they need oral medication or emergency injections daily during school, is that something that's accommodated in our private center? Do you want to? Okay, and so for our online audience, actually you can take it and take it. For our online audience, the answer for our private centers, if you have a child that needs daily medications or injections, we need you to have a medical plan on file and bring that to your site. Most of our directors and providers are going to ask the parent to come in and administer those daily doses. And that is mainly just because they are not medically trained individuals. However, if the parent is willing to come in and the provider is comfortable, the provider may ask that the parent teach them how they can administer it. It's just dependent upon which site you're placed in. All right, and we're gonna pass over to an in-person question and then circle back to another online question. Yeah. So for our online audience, the question was about his child's date of birth. He said that his child turned 4 in January, which would mean that she's 4.5 at the start of school year. Does that affect her eligibility and where she is if she's going to be turning 5 in pre-K? And the answer is it's absolutely not going to be a problem. That is the exact age that your child needs to be for pre-K. And then for kindergarten, they need to be 5 by August 31st in order to go into kindergarten. So that is correct. If your child was born between September 1st, 2018 and August 31st, 2019, that you should apply for Durham PreK for your child. Okay, and we're going to do one more in-person question for a family that needs to leave. Yep. So we had a great question from our in-person audience about, is transportation available for children who are placed in Durham PreK or even in Durham Public Schools? The answer is no, transportation is not provided in any of our pre-K sites. Can we do I need the microphone to do a online one. Oh, well, the question I just wanted to answer was just taken away. Okay. An important question that we received online as well was, am I able to request a spot that is closer to where I work as opposed to closer to my home for Durham Public Schools? And I'm going to hand it over to Stephanie to answer the question. You knew we were going to get it. And the answer for our online audience is no, we place families based off of their home address. Okay, and now we have one question on our audience. Yeah, I think the gentleman at the very back. Early. Oh. So we had an in-person question about, does pre-K support children who are under the age of 4, so 3 years old? And so the answer to that for our online audience is we do have programs in Durham, but it is not through Durham PreK. They must be for Durham PreK, but we would encourage you to look at Head Start with Families and Communities Rising. And our Durham Public Schools is starting a pilot program for 3-year-olds that we would encourage you to look at and maybe learn more information, but there are resources. And you can reach out to the Durham PreK Help Desk and they can get you connected with the correct people over at Families and Communities Rising to complete a Head Start application. So the question was about the hours of the pre-K day, asking what time, he was curious what time they started, if they started at the same time as the public schools or a different time. And so the answer is for our Durham Public Schools classroom, they do follow the Durham Public Schools hours. So that would be 7:45 to 2:15 for Durham Public Schools placement. However, for our private sites, most of them have a start time between either 8:30 or 9. And so it would be 8:30 to 3 and 9 to 3:30. Yeah. So those are the main time frames that you're going to have for our pre-K sites, and our Head Start sites also follow either the start time between 8:30 and 9. Did he get? And I apologize for the online audience. You're going to get the answer again. For our private sites as well as Head Start, most start times are going to be either 8:30 or 9. So your time frame is either going to be 8:30 to 3 or 9 to 3:30. The majority of our sites follow that. But again, on the Durham Public or durhamprek.org website, under site locations, each tab lists the hours for this current school year, and those very rarely change. If they do, it'll be updated as they change. And when you receive a placement and accept and hear from your provider, they're going to let you know exactly what hours you can expect at their private site. But I do want to reiterate that the Durham Public School classrooms do follow the DPS hours. Okay, one of the last online questions that I have is just, do you get the option to choose placement before your child is chosen for the final one? And the answer is, this was covered in our first family info session in February. So we encourage you to go back and watch that. But when you receive an email that it's time for you to indicate your site preferences, you have 5 days to complete that before it's moved forward. In which case, we will place you at the site closest to your home. Now, if you miss that 5-day window and you check your email and you realize that you missed your 5-day window, please reach out to our Durham PreK Help Desk, and they will be able to help you potentially move the application back to indicate your site preferences. But again, it just might delay placement depending on when you're choosing to put that information in. But we do try to give all families the chance to indicate what their preferred site is before we place them. I need Jamika for this question. Jamika, we have a great question from our online audience, which was, someone sharing a story that their child was dismissed from a pre-K site for challenging behavior, was later diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, and asked the question, how do we at Durham PreK handle children with challenging behavior? And will their child ever be dismissed from a program? Great question.
Okay.
How do we deal with challenging behaviors first?
Okay. So we collaborate with they come to people who work with and help to bring home. Now we do have a policy that And
So for our online audience, that was it. It was, will they ever be dismissed? For our online audience, that answer was that Durham PreK is a huge collaborative between many different partners, and all of us work with our sites to provide support to teachers and directors who are dealing with challenging behaviors. But our policy is to never dismiss a child from their site, at least for NC PreK. And we, again, are going to work tirelessly to make sure that your child is in pre-K and that their teacher feels supported on how best to support your child's learning, no matter what the circumstances are. Do we have any questions from our live audience still? Anyone else? Or sorry, from our in-person audience, all of us are live. Any other questions? All right, I'm gonna look online. What does that mean? Okay, so one family, another last question around placement was, if you're filling out your application now and are putting in your site preferences, is there a chance that your site is already gonna be filled? And yes, there is that chance that your preferred site is going to be filled. So the way that we combat that is we highly encourage you to get your application in and completed as soon as possible. And then from there, our partners work to make sure that children are placed in the correct funding streams. And so there is a chance that your child may not be able to be put in one of your top three preferences. That is why we tell you, we want you to put your top three, but it is not guaranteed when you do provide your preferences. Now, as we covered before, if you are adamant about being placed in one specific site, you have the option to remain on the wait list until a slot would be available. But again, we can't guarantee that you would be the first person placed in that slot. It's all dependent upon our internal processes and which funding stream that seat is for. So we really, really encourage you to go and visit as many of our pre-K sites as you can visit so that you can see the differences between some, talk to the providers and decide and maybe see that a lot of our pre-K sites operate identically to one another. And that while we understand location is very important for transportation, maybe the center could be the same between two that are equally close to your home. Any other in-person questions that you can think of? All right, well. Great. No, we're going to receive, for our online audience, we're going to receive 2 updates from Stephanie Humphrey, who is with DPS. So for our online audience, the first question, talking about site preferences, and sorry about that. For our online audience, Stephanie wants you all to know that typically we do not transfer from one DPS site to another. If you have extenuating circumstances, then we may be able to make an exception for you, but most likely you're not going to be able to transfer from one DPS site to the other. What was that last part? Sorry. And then Stephanie wanted to make sure that the online audience also knows that DPS placement is based off of the screening that was done if you applied before May the 12th, and they are put in file order in those, and that is how they are placed. Who is that, who said that they have a question? Oh, yeah, no, I was just, is it something that we should tell the online audience or was it? Great. Well, if there are no other questions from our in-person audience or our online audience, I see one more, we'll receive an email or a phone call for screening. That's going to be a phone call, but you had to have applied before May the 12th. So we passed our deadline for screening. So you may not receive a phone call anymore. Since we are coming up on our 7 p.m. deadline, we just want to say thank you so much for joining us either in person or online. A recording of it will be shared with you. For our online audience, I am going to share the last slide of our presentation, and I would love for you all online, those of us that were in person received this on a piece of paper, but please scan the QR code, let us know how we did. And for those that are still left, we want to encourage you to join us on June the 10th from 11 to 2 for Roll Up and Enroll. And you will receive an email with the flyer for that event and the location. Whew. David. All right, and as soon as our online audience, as soon as you scan that QR code and fill out our survey, we hope that you'll have a great rest of your night, and be on the lookout for our for a follow-up email with all the information.